Guess what the 5-year fixed posted rate is? 6.09.
Yes, it's stupid. It's not a real thing. No one's taking that.
But if I don't pay attention, I think that that's actually my rate and I panic.
The banks are going to be like, you only have 20 years left on your mortgage, but if you don't like that payment, we can just push it back to 30 years. That is screwing you long term.
You know how many people do that and have no idea what they're doing?
That's why I want to talk about this. Many people are like, oh no, they said my payment would be lower. It's like, yeah, because you added 10 years back to your mortgage.
The person who is trying to get you to buy their mortgage by saying that rate is most important, those are people that are providing a service based on rate. So there's something in it for them.
Welcome to the Tom Storey Show. Steve and Tom, yeah, they're ready to go. Real estate talk plus the chaos we find. Anything, everything, whatever's on our mind. Welcome to the Tom Storey Show.
That you sound so nice, Tom.
The gravelly voice right now. Welcome back to the Tom Storey Show. This is episode 194. Hope you're doing great. Thanks for being here. Just a quick final reminder before we get into today's topics. Me and Steve are doing that first-time homebuyer webinar that's coming up fairly shortly. We've got a lot of people registered already, which is awesome, but we'd love to have a few more. So if you haven't gotten registered, you know someone in your network that you think would benefit from it anywhere across Canada, jump on the call. Even though, Steve, I feel like we probably shouldn't have called it first-time homebuyer because really it's just a buyer seminar. It's like 85% of what we're talking about can be applicable to anybody not just buying their first property. So we'll put the link in the description. It's January 22nd, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time. And it's going to be fun. But, Steve, it is January. Yeah. I went to hockey last night and I did not have a beer after the game. I've continued my dry January, which I think I've done for like almost a decade now. Are you in the mindset to do dry January, or is it a cocktail month based on how 2025 wrapped up?
The plan is at least dry Sunday through Thursday. I might even try Friday this week, and then Saturday there's a birthday party and whatever. So I'm not going hardcore on it. I am doing what they call an 18-6 eating window. So I'm only allowed to eat between
That's the fasting, right?
6 p.m. Because I was doing my what right-wingers call research by watching YouTube. And there was this whole thing about insulin resistance and body types and all this stuff. And I was like, is this guy speaking to me? So I'm going to give it a shot and see how it goes.
Where does drinking fall into that? I
got to be drunk before 6 p.m. apparently. No, I mean, I think with everything comes, what's the saying?
In moderation? Something about moderation?
Yeah. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Except for some hard drugs, probably not great in moderation. Probably just no to those things. Well, everything else is probably okay.
Tell David Eby that. He disagrees.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I don't have. Were you sick over the break? I have never been more sick, I don't think, in the last decade than what I experienced last 2 weeks of my life. You can still kind of hear it in my voice. I was on antibiotics. I was shivering. People are like, "What were you sick with?" I'm like, "Yes, everything you can think of. I had in a 2-week period. It was brutal."
I heard
Did your family escape that, or did you? Oh my God, it was bad
this year. We escaped it this year, but I have a trick. So previously, I was doing Movember, much like yourself. But now
my mustache is gone. Yeah.
I have moved my Movember 2 months, 3 months earlier on purpose, because as soon as cold and flu season comes around and I'm touching my mustache all the time, I get sick at the Masters Academy every single year. This year, I shaved before Masters Academy, start shaking hands, and I didn't feel the need to touch my mustache, so I did not get sick.
I was rewatching our last 2 episodes and I had my hand on my mustache like 50% of the I didn't realize I was doing it. And it's funny you bring that up because literally the reason I shaved my mustache, I was going to let this thing ride, is because I was sneezing so much. I'm like, I don't want hair to be here. I need to shave this thing off so I can start feeling better.
Yeah, my wife bugs me about that all the time, like touching my mustache. And, I'm like, well, you don't know because you don't have one, but it's pretty interesting, right? It's like having your hands in your pants. Like, you don't know what's going on. Why do your hands in your pants all the time? It's like,
I heard
if
you
you
started
only knew
a daycare in Minnesota over the break too. Try to bring in some extra income.
dude, have you been following that?
I have.
By the way, if you're looking for
that
real estate,
took over my algorithm.
Fast forward 5 or 10 minutes if you're looking for, because Tom and I haven't.
I think the real viewers will enjoy this part of the conversation. Trust me, we got tons of real estate to chat about today.
It's crazy, that Minnesota thing. And then I went on CBC website just to try and like find
if they posted about it.
Version. And I went into the search bar and I typed in Minnesota fraud. Literally no search results. None. Nothing came up for that. And I was just like, this is nuts. How? And then I did the same thing on CNN, and the only thing that came up was something about Trump cutting funding to daycares in Minnesota, which is not the story, right? That's crazy. I watched the full Nick Shirley first video, and I was just blown away by what went on there. But you know what? The part that caught me, which was crazy. I thought this was like, okay, Steve, you're a crazy conspiracy theory guy now, because there was, in that interview, the guy talked about how they changed the Minnesota flag. Have you seen this?
Yeah, to make it kind of look like the Somali flag, right?
Dude, I will insert them here now for anybody watching on YouTube. But the old Minnesota flag was deemed to be racist for whatever reason. We don't know.
Okay.
I'll put it on the screen here. Then the guy said, oh, so we had to change our flag to look like the Somali flag. And I was like, there is no way. And then I looked up the Somali flag. Then I looked up the new Minnesota state flag. Yeah. Like, nobody can deny those aren't one is not inspired by the other. So I don't know. I think I'm deep down the rabbit hole now, Tom.
I started getting the videos of, like, the ones where people walk up to the car and they're like, what do you do for a living? And they were like parody ones. And I was like, oh, I own a daycare in Minnesota. And they show all the.
But doesn't that show you how is everybody getting rich? How is everybody siphoning? Why do they need so much money? Like, that is to me, that shows why politicians pander to a group in order to get votes and how they pay them back. Like, that's what that story is. Yeah. And the question is, how is it happening here?
Well, that's the thing. It's like there's something going on in Canada. We were chatting about this on the phone, saying like it's not quite the same, because I don't know if it's really stealing from the government, but like what we had with like the fake colleges for international students coming over, like they were kind of getting frauded. Like they were coming over thinking they were like going to college in Canada, and they walk into a strip mall with probably like 2 rooms and a bathroom. Yeah. Like similar versions of, I get it's not the exact same, but there's obviously stuff like that happening in Canada right in front of us that we just don't know.
That makes me worry about things like $10 a day daycare here in BC now, right? Everybody, we need $10 a day daycare. But it's like, okay, let's make sure that means everything's being funded by the government. So now, are those daycares here legit? Yes or no? I don't know. I mean, I know the daycares here are packed and nobody can get rooms for that. I haven't seen vacant daycares and healthcare centers and vacant taxis like they have there that apparently are the sham. But there's something going on here. I would, before we get, cancellation's not a thing anymore. My worry is that the amount of money that's being siphoned into reconciliation, there's a strong potential for that money not necessarily being used for reconciliation or improving the lives of Indigenous people. So I think that is, it was eye-opening. And I was talking to a few people around the office, because now I'm the right-wing conspiracy theory guy in the office. And they're like, I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this. It's because if they're not on YouTube, every other media source has shut that down completely.
I feel like I saw that. I feel like I first saw it on like Instagram, actually. Like I got something in my feed about it on Instagram, and then I found the YouTube video.
Seen it it's the biggest news story in the world right now, outside of stealing a dictator out of somebody else's country. And it's not on any of the media outlets in Canada. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of your favorite place to visit, you took the family down to Tucson. Was that good? Did you buy a property there, Steve? Are you still complaining about property taxes there? Or
Nice.
what's going on?
Oh, property taxes. So I went down with John By, and he was telling me his house in Washington State per year is like give or take $18,000 a year property tax.
Really?
Yeah, his house in Tucson, $1,500 a year.
Okay, so Tucson has wildly low taxes then. I thought you said their taxes were expensive in Tucson.
Not in Tucson.
Oh.
Not in Arizona. Arizona is one of the great, wonderful states. So I don't know. I love it there. It was fantastic. I got to sit courtside at a U of A basketball game, which apparently for me
is
Canadian,
a big thing.
Not a big deal down there. You know what Americans spend?
They love college sports in the States, eh?
Everybody thinks they're thinking about politics and all that stuff, dude. They're like literally their senior citizen crowd is like, sorry guys, gotta go, gotta leave work early, gotta leave the party, whatever it is. Basketball game's on, the football game's on, and they got like a real competitor this year for the championship. Apparently, they're like undefeated, obviously, or whatever. And it's just like that's what people care about. And I'm like, man, it's crazy to see like people have pride in such a what is a small thing. And
well, it's obviously not a small thing. It's like probably bigger than the professional sports we have here for like viewership and all that kind of stuff.
Way bigger than stuff like the CFL. And it shouldn't be that way. Like we should have pride in what we have, but I don't know. Anyway, courtside was awesome. And it was interesting to see the dynamic going on down there. So if I can move to Tucson, I'm doing it. I'll tell you the difference though. Tucson is affordable in all sorts of ways. And Phoenix, just an hour up the road, feels like Vancouver.
Oh, like, really?
Like affordability wise or whatever. So yeah, it's a different thing.
Interesting.
It's just big city, right?
All right. And then wrapping up last year, are you happy to be out of 2020? We haven't had a real conversation in 2026 yet. So I'd just be curious, like wrapping up the business year, like, is that like a good see ya later? I don't want to think about you again, 2025.
Tom, I'm happy to say we tied our worst year ever for number of transactions.
Okay.
So in that respect, I feel thankful that we avoided the worst ever.
Can I just for a second stop you and just say like your worst number of transactions is I think you sold like 60 homes last year, which would put you a top 25 realtor in the entire city of Toronto. Just to like give perspective to like the viewers, like Steve runs a really good business. He helps a lot of people buy and sell homes, and your worst year is not bad. But just to clear that up.
But to be fair, I would like to say I probably hold myself to a higher standard, and I have mouths to feed, and I have employees and all this stuff that's going on, right? So I definitely have some goals for this year. I have certain things that I'm looking forward to. I'm going to say I'm looking forward to this year to put last year behind me. At this time last year, I thought we were going to be doing gangbusters, and then the tariffs.
It started pretty good in 2025, right? It felt pretty normal when we started last year.
Yep, but not everybody can be Tom Storey, because I heard Tom Storey had a bit of a good year.
Well, transaction volume wise, not income wise, we were down, which kind of makes sense.
Tom,
but yeah, honestly,
it's okay to say it's a safe space here. Nobody's listening.
No one listens, eh? Yeah,
it's okay to be proud of yourself.
Well, here's the thing. Last year was a slog. Everything was tough. Nothing came together easy. Like that's just what it was. So yeah, we got updated numbers literally this morning, and we were top 10 in City of Toronto for sales for all property types. Number 1 in downtown Toronto, and number 1 for condos for the entire city. This is all resale, like on MLS. It doesn't count the off market stuff. But I'm just proud of my team, and I'm super grateful to our clients that they call us, and because even like Steve, yesterday, we firmed up one of our listings. And I called the seller to say like, hey, like, congrats. And he was like, well, I lost $100,000 on this. I'm not really feeling that great. I'm just happy it's over. And it's like, that was just basically every conversation last year. which again, I'm not complaining. Trust me, I recognize there's jobs that are a million times harder than what I do for a living. But just mentally, it was taking a toll. And to know like, okay, all the hours put in and the clients that we ran through tough situations with, it is kind of neat. But let's move on. I got topics today.
No, I'm going to dwell on it a little bit. Tom,
I got topics.
Okay to feel good. Like literally, if you and your team combined sold more condos than anybody else in the entire city of Canada's largest city population, whatever you want to call it, I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thank you.
You did good. You did good.
But here's the problem, Steve. Here's the problem, Steve.
Down the stats.
Here's the problem. Now you do something once, and now you got to do it again.
And next year you're a loser.
Yeah, I'm gonna come second or third next year. Just gonna be so mad about it. All right. Let's get to the topics today. I hope you guys enjoyed the beginning of the show. I wanted to catch up with Steve, have some friendly banter. So hopefully you're still here. Topic number 1.
Your real estate website should work as hard as you do, and that's where Realty Ninja comes in to create a beautiful website that helps you convert online leads, that doesn't give you all these tech issues and will match with the brand that you already have. Steve's been using Realty Ninja for over 10 years, and we have a promo code for listeners of the Tom Storey Show. RealtyNinja.com/Tom will give you 20% off your first year, and you don't pay $1 until your website launches. RealtyNinja.com/Tom. And now, back to the podcast.
Steve, I don't know if you saw this, but it's looking like the foreign buyer ban in Canada could be coming to an end. Now, this was a news story that it got published, I actually think, on December the 22nd. So like nobody's paying attention. And we had always kind of joked about this on the show that like whenever they do make a change to the foreign buyer ban, it's going to be like a week where like no one's paying attention.
Yeah.
So they have not made the change yet, but this was from a Bloomberg report that, as I mentioned, came out December the 22nd, and that Canada's federal government is actively weighing adjustments to the foreign buyer ban, which as of right now is set to expire at the end of 2027. So we still do have 2 years, and this came in 2023. So this has been around for a while now. So your buddy, your pal, your ex-mayor, Housing Minister Gregor Robertson, he signaled a review that will look particularly at models used in countries like Australia. This is something we've chatted about on the show with many guests before, where foreign buyers can buy new homes or land for development, but are still restricted from buying resale properties. Mm-hmm. The government says it still wants to prioritize housing affordability for Canadians first. Of course, they're going to say this, but sees potential for foreign investment to support new builds or rental supply housing. Now, let's clarify what that actually means. The developers, Steve, are going to the government and saying, for the love of God, do something to allow us to sell out these buildings so we can start building because no one else is buying. And maybe the foreign buyers are the ones that are going to be silly enough to pay $1,500 a square foot for a brand new downtown pre-construction condo, because the people of Toronto certainly aren't the ones doing it right now, and that's not going to happen for a while. I'd be curious to get your take, because when prices were accelerating fast because of populations growing, extremely low interest rates, all the other things that came together to create that perfect storm, like we weren't allowed to travel or do anything else, and like, you know, all the things that happen, still people were saying, well, foreign buyers aren't the issue. I've said it. It's like, I don't know, because maybe the foreign buyers weren't hiring me to help them buy and sell places. Maybe I wasn't getting the calls, but like, I didn't see it in my business at all. And many reports would come out saying like, well, they're only 5% of the market. Banning them is not really going to make a difference anyways. When we've had developers on this show, I think we asked Winston, who's the VP of sales at Tridel, and we talked with Brad Lamb about this years ago. They both kind of said like, oh, it's not really that big of a deal. So if foreign buyers are not really that big of a deal, why are the developers begging for the government to allow them to buy their product now? Are like, if you're 20% sold out your building, you think opening up foreign buyers is going to get you to 70% and now you can build the thing? I don't think so. But I'd love to know your take on this. Do you think foreign buyer ban will be adjusted first to allow people to buy pre-con? And then once that's done, the next thing is that when it ends in 2027, they're just not going to acknowledge anything and it's going to be gone. And foreign buyers will be allowed again, and the party gets to start just during the time where the market might start rebounding as well, just based on like where we are at this point. So I'd love to get your perspective on this, Steve. Foreign buyers coming back, good thing for new construction, bad thing? Are we opening up a can of worms where we're just going to have to ban them again in the future?
I'm worried that foreign buyers will only buy little tiny units in downtown areas.
Right.
So that may not be necessarily helping us at all. It's definitely, I can't see a world that it doesn't happen. There is a very prominent, let's call them new construction, sales, not sure, development, extremely wealthy person who lives in Vancouver, who is very connected to the Liberal Party, who would be like, I'm talking very connected. Maybe not direct line to Carney, but direct line to the housing minister for sure. Because he's the former former mayor of Vancouver. I heard this guy speak before, and it sounds like he's got a plan. And it sounds like he's going to get his way. And this all kind of fits in, right? So his thing was, there's going to be sales return to the second half to the end of this year, sales return.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to see price appreciation until probably 12 months after that.
I'd even say I don't even think we'll see price appreciation for the next 2 years, but whatever. Every market's going to be different.
When I say price appreciation, what I mean
like
is
a little bit
prices to start to go back up rather than
slowly go down.
Falling. So we could still have price appreciation, could still be lower prices than today, but it's just when does it turn around?
When does it turn? Sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, I will say I didn't like the speech I heard from this individual because it was very, at that time, pro. I guess it was just when Carney was being introduced. But everything he said in that speech came true. Very wealthy person.
Okay.
And everything came true about the elections. Everything he said came true. And I'm just like, okay, so this is an insider. Similar to the effect of, I know before the election, you were having a conversation with somebody. I don't know if we can say it. Maybe we can. I think they said it publicly. Anyway, you were having a conversation with somebody and saw a presentation, and that person called it. So in the news, they might say, oh, maybe this is going to happen. Maybe that's going to happen to keep you on the edge of your seat. But the people who are in politics know what's happening, and they know the playbook, right? Like, I believe Pierre Poilievre knew he was not going to win that election in advance of the election, right? So these are the types of things that I don't think it's going to be a big shock when quietly the foreign buyer ban just gets removed off of new construction, no problem. And then eventually, do we need it over here? Do we need it over there? I don't think they're just going to go, oh, whoops, we forgot to renew it, and then worry about something else going on. I don't think that's going to happen.
I just think what's going to happen is when they remove it, when it's fully removed, so right now it's scheduled
Christmas
to just
Day next year.
It's scheduled to end of 2027, right? So it's scheduled right now to just go away as we head into 2028. And to put that in perspective, and I know this is just a Toronto analogy, but 2028 is the 1995 of the 1989 housing crash when things stopped going down and started slowly going up again. No, I don't know if that's going to play out the same way. I have no idea what's going to happen here, but it's like they put it in when other things were already changing, when rates were already going up and pre-construction was already hurting. So it's like, it looks like it maybe did have a big impact. I don't know if it did. And then they're going to take it off as things are just naturally getting better. And then it's going to look like they have more of an impact than they really do. I don't know. We'll see. Like, I'm super curious. Waving it all together is one thing. Just saying like, hey, we're open for business to buy new construction. I would be very, very curious to see if it even makes a dent. Are people even interested? I wonder if most people outside Canada even know there's a foreign buyer ban. Do you think many people are aware of it?
No.
You think
because
Americans know? Like,
I get
if you're
phone calls all
American,
the time.
right?
Yeah, I get phone calls all the time from people who are like, I have to leave the States. This country's crazy. I'm like, can we just change spots right now? I don't know.
You know, it was,
Like wherever you are doesn't feel as, I listened to a travel podcast because one day in my future, I feel like I may go around Southeast Asia with just a backpack and flip-flops.
You're reliving you're taking your 20-year-old trip in your 40s.
In my 60s. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was listening to it and it was really interesting. It was like, you know why his thought, and I related this to Tucson, was, do you know why vacations a lot of the time are so good, or just traveling is so good? Because when you enter that city, you don't enter it with all of the problems of, what's going on? What is the school district doing? What is the mayor doing here? Like, what are the problems we're having? Where is, the fraud or the whatever? Like, there's no problems when you go into the city. So you kind of go into that city like a child. Right. And I think that's what a lot of people have, that same mentality when they're like, I'm leaving Canada. Canada's screwed. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to Costa Rica. You just don't know the problems of the Costa Rican people.
You'll find it out once you're there for long enough.
Right? Yeah, be there for a while. Yeah. So
everyone complains everywhere.
Not as glorious.
Final thought on the foreign buyer stuff is, recently, I can't say the name because I just don't think I'm allowed, but like we leased a place. It was our listing, but a very high profile Toronto athlete leased it from us for like a lot of money, right? Like it was a really nice, really sick penthouse. And I was chatting, they had their own representation, and I was like, why is this person, like, I can look their salary up online. Why are they leasing this? And they're like, oh, they can't buy. They're not Canadian. Yeah. I'm like, oh.
This episode of the Tom Storey Show is brought to you by Karrasch Dunlop. Real estate agents, you spend months, if not years, earning your clients' trust. You don't want to lose it on inspection day. For over 45 years, top agents across Canada have relied on Karrasch Dunlop for home inspections that are clear, calm, and client first. Their inspections don't just find issues, they know how to explain them in a way that will protect your client and your credibility. If you haven't worked with Karrasch Dunlop yet, now is the time to find out why Canada's best trust Karrasch Dunlop for home inspections. You can learn more at karrachandunlop.com. I will also tell you, in the Toronto real estate market, whenever I see a pre-home inspection by Karrasch Dunlop, I know my buyers can trust it. And Karrasch Dunlop is a company we've used so many times over the years for our buyers and sellers. karrachandunlop.com. And now back to the podcast.
I was like, well, wouldn't they like start to get their PR? They're like, no, for tax purposes, like, no, they're not doing that. They're going to call their home where they're from. And how it works in like professional sports, I think you get taxed based on like where you play the games, like exactly where you are for those games. But I was shocked. I was like, I didn't even think about it because I know this person, like one of the big Toronto sports teams, makes a lot of money. And I'm like, why are they renting? They're like, no, they can't buy. It didn't even click into me. It's like, that's crazy. Like, they're not like from some random place. I'm not going to say where they are because I don't want people to put the pieces together, but I found that very, very interesting. Well, I'd love to know in the comments, how do we feel about potential changes to the foreign buyer ban? Are we for them getting in there and buying new construction? Do you think the ban just totally comes off? And I think more than anything, Steve, what I want to know from our viewers is like, does it matter? Is the ban even doing anything, or is it just it got more credit than it deserved because the market shifted when rates started going up when they put this ban into place? All right, with that down, Stephen, let's move on to market activity. I want to talk about real estate. This is a real estate show, and I find that we try to at least stay in our lane. I know we talked about a few other topics. We talked about real estate and Minnesota daycares on the Tom Storey Show. But I want to know how your year has started. I just want to hear like market activity. I'll share what we've seen because I've been kind of surprised by the start to the year. What are you finding in your day-to-day right now? Are you listing a bunch of properties? The type of buyers that are reaching out, who are they? How are you feeling so far in 2026?
More buyer appointments than listing appointments.
Interesting.
That's for sure. Okay. But everybody's in this time of the year is almost always a little sleepy.
Yeah, of course.
Right. The listing people are like, I'm going to come on in March. And I'm like, guys, you're going to be one of many, 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 many coming on in March.
Mm-hmm.
Try and do it now so you can pick from your next move up in March. But buyers calls getting booked in the link down below, even in this video. But buyer calls are getting booked, and people are going, I don't know if it's the best time, but I'm sick of a rental. I was talking to a guy the other day who's in like a roommate situation, multiple roommate situation. He's just like, I can't do this anymore.
Uh-huh.
I'm moving on, and there was multiple where it was like, I want to become a homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, those are the people I want to work with.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want hey, can I get this, pre-sale and then maybe flip it 2 years down the road. I know that's where a lot of agents focus, but these people are like, I want something to call my own, of which it will set me up for the future eventually. And I'm like, you're the right type of people. So I'm positive that this year, with the way rents are going and rentals are going and prices coming down and interest rates hopefully now stabilizing,
maintaining,
that we are in a spot where things are better off for the new purchasers. And inevitably, as you kind of alluded to earlier, that's going to bring back some sort of stability. And eventually that will lay the floor, I guess, for a recovery. Right.
Well, transactions need to be the first thing that kicks back a little bit for anything else to start happening in the market. Like, if you want prices to go up again, like, that's a long way away. Like, first we got to focus on transaction volume getting better consistently. And then at some point we'll notice when prices bottom out, as we've mentioned many, many times on the show, 3 months later, when we look back and we go, oh, there it was. Right. But that hasn't happened yet in my market. I don't think that's happened in your market. Like, there's still no call on bottoming of prices. I haven't seen it.
No, prices are definitely going down. So we just got the stats package from the Fraser Valley board yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, we did too. It came out late.
And at the end of the year, in the December package, they put together a 5-year summary.
Huh.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. So what they do is they look back at last year. So I'm just bringing it up. They look back at last year. They look back at 3 years ago, and they look back at 5 years ago. So get this, in 2020, there were a total in the Fraser Valley board of 19,926 sales. Almost 20,000 sales. In 2022, that number dropped. So this is excluding 21's. Not
because 21 was going to be a silly number.
It's not one. No, but it's just not. This goes 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. Right. That's just the
conveniently skips the best year.
No, next year we'll have those. I know. One.
Yeah.
So then in 2022, it dropped to just over 15,273. 2024, so last year, not that far off of 2022, 14,570. This year ended up 12,224. So compared to 2020, sales were down 38.7%. And listings were up 19% from the same year. So that goes to show you, like, last year, we're so far below. Now, 2020 was a pretty good year. The average, I'm going to say, is about 15,000.
Yeah, okay.
We're in there, 15,500, 16,000, something like that. But now we're at 12,000. So I think there's a good chance that we'll get back up to
15? Or that would be a pretty big jump. 14?
14, 15. But I don't think that activity is going to happen in the first quarter.
Yeah, so I've heard this from several people now that seem to think that activity will still be relatively slow to start the year, and then they think that the back half of the year will be better. I've heard that from multiple different people across different banks and economists and things like that. It'd be interesting to see kind of how the year plays out, because we ended up wrapping up in Toronto Real Estate Board 62,000 sales, which is the lowest amount of sales we've had since the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 60-ish thousand sales in the year 2000. So 25 years it's been since we've had sales volume this low. But then when you add in the lease transactions, we had one of our biggest years ever for total transactions. However, what was happening is obviously people were choosing to access real estate in a much different way. It's like the need existed to have a place to live, but how people chose to access it was way heavier on the lease side of the transaction. It is actually one of the many reasons why I think this is going a little bit off topic, but a lot of these smaller real estate companies have been gobbled up by the bigger ones. And there's been a lot of people taken over because these small ones just couldn't exist on the low transaction fees and like running leases through the deal processing. There was no business model there. They were just losing money. We saw the craziness that happened with iPro. That's on the biggest scale, but that was a little different because money was actually like stolen. They didn't just go out of business. But I think that's one of the main things that's happened. And what I'll say, like market wise, is I still think like condo prices will probably slip a little bit more in 2026. I'm pretty confident in saying that. But like near the end of the year, Steve, we always talk about what date do we take listings off the market to then refresh them in the new year. I had 3 sellers that were like, just let it ride. Like, we're not bothered. We're not living there. Just let it ride and we'll see what happens.
There's nobody asking for showing, so just let it.
Well, right. It's like, just keep it up. Keep it on the market. I sold 3 of our listings between Christmas and New Year's Day. I was shocked. Like, offers were coming in. I'm like, what the hell is... I literally got an offer in the morning of New Year's Eve. I was going to a wedding that night. Wendy and my team got married. Congratulations to Wendy. Awesome wedding. But yeah, and these were all condos. I'd say 2 of them were tough sales in the fact of just what they were, the size that they were, the fact that they didn't have parking. They were sales that don't come together that easily and take time. And then one was like in my opinion, like a really good floor plan in a good building with a wow factor. But yeah, we wrapped up 3 in that time zone. And then to start 2026, I did what you've kind of taught me to do over the years is we got 4 listings to the market already this year. Like we brought them out early. And
I only had 1 seller take me up on that this year.
We had a whole bunch.
Jan 6, man, like that was the first Tuesday. I'm like, you need to get on now because inventory dropped to like 6,000 where we are, which is high. Like it should be 4,500, 4,000 would be a good start to the year. Yeah. Nothing like we saw way back when it was only 1,300 in 22, right? But I am still seeing sellers drag their feet into the new year. And I don't know how loud I can yell it in their faces of the longer you wait to sell, the less you will sell for, unless your plan is to hold for another multiple of years. And they're just not listening. Like there's just no motivation. They're not ready. And I'm like, guys, this is
are these downsizers? Are these people selling and not buying? Like what's because I found there's actually pretty decent motivation with my sellers where they're like, yeah, it's not getting better. So and there's a property that we didn't sell last year that we took off because and we had talked about this on the show. He just wasn't willing to go to the price that was necessary. I have a call with him today at 2 to relist it at the price that it will now get it done. So we've got a few that also didn't sell last year that we're bringing back, but we're not putting them back up at the same prices. It's like the sellers are like, all right, we see what's going on.
A lot of them are estates.
Yeah, so that's why there's gonna be less motivation or children involved and more than one decision maker, right?
Yeah, but I'm just amazed at the amount of people that will take on the headache of like maintaining this property continuously with, maybe it's vacant or whatever it is, maybe it's rented out or whatever. And it's like, guys, it's not getting better. One of them that I did an evaluation for like 9 months ago, Like the market in that particular type of asset class and area is down more than 10%. And I've been
In the last year?
in the last 9 months.
Yeah.
Like since we started, it actually went up at the beginning of last year. So everybody
Sure.
was like, oh, okay, this is not looking so bad. Let's put it at this price. Since then, no activity has happened on it.
Mm.
And there has, like, I'm looking at the price charts and I'm like, guys, you got to get this thing on the market.
But
Because the number we were talking about last year is 10% less. And that was optimistic.
What are they waiting for? What are they buying something else? What's like what's the point to wait? Just not ready?
Just always a conversation, but never action. And maybe that's just how some people live. I don't know, but it's like let's get this thing off the books. And they're just I don't know if they have a false hope that it's going to come back faster, or if they're just, like I said, just slower to act people. You know, they're doing other stuff. There's a lot of that in the world, right? They're of course just doing other stuff other than worried about this stuff. But my job is more money. So more money is sooner. It's not I want a quick sale. Yes, I want a quick sale. But it's not that I want a quick sale. It's that, of course, more money is sooner. And they're just not listening.
Well, I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments. If you are someone actively looking to get into the market, is it time? If you're waiting, what is it that you are waiting for? And on the selling side as well, I feel like most people that want to list this year, like, oh yeah, like we'll put it up in the spring. Like, well, everyone's thinking the same thing. So maybe hit the market at least like early March or late February, get there a little bit earlier so that you're not dealing with as much competition. Well, with that down, Steve, before we get to the mortgage renewal side of things, because Steve has some really good advice for everybody today, I want to quickly hit on, I sat down like everyone does, right? Where you go through every transaction that took place last year, and then you run all the numbers and you make a video on it. That's a sane thing to do on your Christmas break, right, Steve? Well, I did that for Toronto condos, and I just wanted to share, I guess, like the bullet points. There's a full video on my channel if you want to watch it. What I've found interesting so far to start this year is we've had 2 buyers reach out in very early January. And I'm going to say this so you can hear me, Steve. Steve, they're condo investors. They're this rare breed that we haven't seen in a long time. But I got 2 of them that we're actively working with. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I was still pretty clear that I think 2026 is going to be an end user market across the board. But there are, I guess, some people now watching these prices fall and thinking it's time to make a decision here. So what I did is I took every single sale and listing, new listing, which includes all the relists in 2025 for condos in the city of Toronto, to try to just give people some like really clear information on what the numbers are saying. So here's my bullet points. Number 1, tenanted properties represented 16% of all the listings and only 18% of all the sales. So the number one factor that makes, I'm not talking about prices, I'm just talking about
16% and 18%.
No, did I say 18? Sorry, I meant to say 8. Sorry, maybe I messed that up. So 16% of all the condos that were listed last year, new listings, were tenanted.
Okay.
They only represented 8% of the actual sales.
Okay.
So you can see there's a massive delta there. And if I could give you one factor why a property will or won't sell, just successive selling, I'm not even talking about price, you have the lowest chance of selling if your property is tenanted. That's just like mathematically speaking what we saw with the numbers. The sell-through rate was the lowest by all the other ones. Vacant and owner-occupied did a lot better than what we saw with tenanted properties, and it wasn't even close. Parking does matter. I saw this report that came out the other day saying parking in Toronto is becoming obsolete. I'm like, I don't know, because you can park, like one of my good friends, like, you know, him and his partner go to, their offices are close to each other downtown, and he can drive downtown and he found a place to park $15 a day, or they can each take the streetcar there and back, which is like $3.50 each way. He's like, so we drive. So we drive and we park because it's not, I know obviously there's gas and wear and tear and that kind of stuff, but it's like, I'd rather just have my car.
You don't gotta sit next to a dude that smells like urine.
Right. So
unless his partner's filthy, I don't know.
So a big data point here that I need to make clear is that a lot of smaller units just naturally had trouble selling because they're investor product, and a lot of them didn't have parking. So that definitely plays into these numbers. I'm not saying this is like this is the only thing that you need to know. It's like it's just part of the equation here. But 82% of the sales that happened for condos had a parking spot, while only representing 77% of all the new listings. So same idea with like the tenanted properties, and you can just see that having a parking spot just naturally helps you sell at a higher percentage. Probably added in with the fact that the units that had parking were likely more end user focused buildings anyways. So that's something to keep in mind. There was just over 12,000 sales that took place, and we had just over 42,000 active listings. However, that 42,000 includes relists. So if we were to say the average condo listed 1.5 times, if that's then it probably takes that 42,000 closer to like 30-ish thousand actual units that went for sale. But then I don't know, like who knows exactly what that number is, but I don't think that's too much of a stretch to say 1.5 was the average for relists. Like some properties.
I can't believe you guys are complaining about inventory problems. Like your sales, your months of inventory is fantastic.
That's what I was going to say is if you actually take out the relist and just look at like actual condos listed and actual condos sold, about 50% of the condos that tried to sell sold. So it's not horrible. Like, to put things in perspective.
I was doing an evaluation the other day in Wally in downtown Surrey for a 1-bedroom condo. And I pulled my only criteria was Wally, 1-bedroom condo. There was 191 active listings on the market. And then I switched the criteria to last 30 days sales, 17.
I mean, that was like, what, from December to... It's a weird month though, right?
It's 11 months of inventory. Like you guys in Toronto are
no,
like,
but Steve, if I pulled up 1-bedrooms downtown, I bet you it's not too much dissimilar, right? If I picked an area in a small condo type, I bet you the numbers are like 8 to 10 months of inventory.
It would be interesting to see if you can go. You know what I think they should do on the MLS? They should make a 1-bed category, and they should make a junior 1-bed category. Like, you know how it's like bedroom?
0. Yeah.
No, but like bedrooms, and it should say junior bedrooms because they're not the same.
They're not the same.
Hey, podcast listener, if you're looking to buy or sell a property in Surrey or the Fraser Valley, you have to reach out to Steve Karrasch, my co-host. As much as we make fun of each other on this show, the truth is that I do this podcast with him because he is reliable. He has an opinion. He knows what he's doing. He has a ton of experience. And although I have never personally sold a home with Steve, if I were and I was in that area, he would be my number one choice. And let's be honest with each other. As much as he has a hard exterior on the show, he's a little bit of a softie once you get digging a little bit deeper. So you can reach out to Steve in the link in the description. I hope you enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
The other day, a client reached out and said, or potential client reached out and said, hey, I want to check out this property. And it was a junior 1-bed. And I'm looking through the pictures. And you know how like the opaque window like faces to the kitchen? It's like above the sink. Whoever did the photos photoshopped in like blue coming through. Like it's like the skies outside of that window from the bedroom angle. I was like, you freaking bastards.
Got to be careful with MLS photos these days. AI, I'm glad the real estate boards are putting more rules in place. Like you shouldn't be touching up photos that much.
They just need a watercolor, or what do they call it? Watermark that just says AI enhanced. And I don't know why they don't do that.
But even if I saw that, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't trust this. Like I want real photos of the thing I'm actually going to see. And just finally, obviously this isn't like too much news here, but 2 beds and 2+ dens and 1+ dens were the best selling type of condos. 6 to 699 square feet, which falls in that category of downtown 1-bedroom plus den with parking in a established building, was the most popular, followed by 1,000 to 1,200 square feet was the second most popular. So you can see people are looking for good floor plans, good layouts, bigger spaces that is going to be better for end users. And it was just very clear from all this data what's selling, what's not selling, is that it's a market that people were buying to live in these spaces, not to invest into.
We're seeing that difference too, where it's like, let's say something's at 4.25 to 4.5 or somewhere in there. Even 399 to 4.5 is the 1-bedroom condo range. What will happen is the 450s, 460s, and 470s with a den and a larger square footage will sell. The 500 square footers will sit at 4.25 or 399. And so buyers are either picking off the absolute cheapest, or they're like, well, what's another 50 grand at 4%? Screw it. I'm going to get the extra.
You get a way better space.
150, 200 square feet. And they don't care. So it's almost like if you've bought this kind of middle of the road 500 square foot 1-bed, you're in tough. And if you bought, the cheapest of the cheapest of the cheap, you're still doing okay, because there's somebody always looking for the cheapest thing.
Sure.
And then if you bought something that was like, okay, it had a work from home den in it, in the 1-bed, and it gives you that extra space, everybody's like, okay, I can make that work, and I'm willing to pay for it. So I think that's what I'm noticing is a lot of like the 470 to 525 square foot 1-beds are just sitting, and then the 650 1-beds are all selling, no problem. Not all, but easier.
In my own situation, I kind of wish I had just bought a bigger house when I bought my house. Like, I bought what I needed at the time. I could have bought a bigger house, and I chose not to. And now I'm like, shit, to get that bigger house. I know the market's changed and all that kind of stuff, but like, just the land transfer tax is like, at the time I should have just bought a bigger house. And that's not like a sales pitch to tell people to spend more than you want, but it's like, would you not rather stay here for 5 to 7 years instead of 3 years and pay transaction costs and land transfer to then go to the next one? Like, maybe get a little bit more than what you need if it falls within your budget and if you can afford it, obviously. So that means you have to move less.
I had that with a client, I want to say 2 years ago, where they were like, listen, we are minimalists. One of them works out of town 50% of the time. We like take pride in not having anything. We want a nice, small, affordable unit. Nice, yes, but tiny is kind of what we're going for. This is the lifestyle we want to live. And then I got an email about a month ago. Yeah, we're running out of space. Like, they could have easily gone to a 2-bed, but they chose not to. And now the time's going to come where, unfortunately, they're probably going to move at not the best time.
Right. And
they're very much, looking at moving up to what they probably should have bought in the first place. So if you can afford the more space, buy the more space so you can be there longer, right? Like young couples, I'm like, guys, if you can get to a 2-bed, please get to a 2-bed. Because I don't know if you guys heard how babies get, come out, but there's a high.
When you find out, let me know.
Yeah. Some people are slow learners. I learned after 2. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where, like, if you can just do that one extra thing and get that little bit of extra space, please do it. Please do it, because there's a high likelihood you're gonna, like, for my business model, buy the smaller place. It's gonna do me good.
Right.
But for your lifestyle and your expenses, if you can spend the extra 10 or 20 or 50 grand, do it. Get the bigger place.
All right. I want to wrap up with one final topic today, and Steve, I'm going to let you take. Well, yeah, we've been talking, man. I don't want people to stick around for too long. This is an hour show normally. I just want to leave time for this last topic, because I think there's going to be some really good stuff here, and it's very likely that the title of this episode is going to have to do with the thing we talked about last. So I apologize. That wasn't done on purpose. Steve, take over. Let's talk about, so like, you're going through a mortgage renewal.
Oh,
and
I was like,
you
where-
have going through. Well, you're going through lots of things in between your ears. It's a scary place. But right now, you're going through a mortgage renewal, and I know you wrote down some tips. I think this is very good advice for Canadians that are in a similar situation. So, let you take it away. What do Canadians need to understand as they're going from a low rate to a higher rate, and what their options are? And let me just throw something in here. Like, many of the times, the banks are going to be like, "Hey, Steve, you only have 20 years left on your mortgage, but if you don't like that payment, don't worry. We can just push it back to 30 years. And this is your new payment and it's lower." And you're like, wow, this is great. No, that is screwing you long term.
You know how many people do that and have no idea what they're doing?
That's why I want to talk about this, because some people listening will be like, yeah, obviously that's silly. But many people are like, oh no, they said my payment would be lower. It's like, yeah, because you added 10 years back to your mortgage and the amount of interest you're paying over time. So I'm going to shut up. Steve, take it over.
I will preface this by saying tomorrow, this is Sunday, tomorrow. So Monday, I have a video that if you are renewing your mortgage this year in Canada, anywhere in Canada, you should go to my channel and watch that video, because it has absolutely everything that I'm going through and the things that I'm doing and like living it right now, going through another mortgage renewal this year, this time on my income property. Can I call it an income property? I don't know.
Is it producing income?
I mean, it is, and maybe until I redo this, until I redo this mortgage. But at this point, it's like I've noticed differences this year, because I kind of do a version of this video each year on my channel, because there are little things that change and most people don't know how to do it, right? So this year I didn't get a letter from this lender.
Yeah.
From like, here, your renewal's coming. Here's your option. I never got that letter this year. I got an email saying, hey, you want to talk to us? And I was like, want to talk to us? Like,
playing hard to get, or what's going on?
No, but they're like, yeah, I loved when I did my renewal last year with my other lender, they sent me a letter and they were like, here is your list of rates.
Right.
So now I was like, okay, I know where my starting point is. I know my worst case scenario. Now it's time to negotiate. Uh-huh. But they didn't do that this year. So I went on this lender's website, and what's on this lender's website, because it's one of the big 5 banks, is their posted.
It's not going to be the real rate. It's like it's not the
posted
discount
rates.
Yeah.
Guess what the 5-year fixed posted rate is on this particular bank's website right now?
I mean, it doesn't really matter because no one's actually taking that rate. But let me, I don't know, 4.8%.
6.09.
Yes, it's stupid. It's not a real thing. No one's taking that.
But if I don't pay attention to Steve's video tomorrow, then I think that's actually my rate, and I panic, and I'm like, what's going on here? Now, that's the posted rate, and the posted rate is the posted rate because that's how they're going to screw you when your penalty comes in, right? So there are a bunch of mortgage brokers online right now saying that it's BS that rate isn't the most important thing. I'm telling you, I believe rate is not the most important thing. The person who is trying to get you to buy their mortgages by saying that rate is most important, and they have the lowest rates because they're, tossing in whatever commissions they have to be a discount broker. That's fine. That's their business model. But rate is like, those are people that are providing a service based on rate.
Sure.
So there's something in it for them. Now, what I noticed is when that posted rate is as high as 609, now the rate differential is crazy, and I see penalties coming in that are massive.
That are nuts, yeah.
That are crazy. And a lot of people don't make it. Most people, I would say more than 50% of people don't make it to their 5 years. They refinance, they move, they do something, right? So I would really caution people to start to do some research. And then the other side of that coin is, if you go to, what are the big websites? Rate Hub, I think, .ca. I also caution you that the lowest rate you see there is not the one you're going to get either.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Those are very well put together consumer portals. just like
no, like it's
the
a
real
great
estate
service.
sites. Yeah.
It's a great service, but my experience has been if you actually reach out to those people and you go, okay, if you're advertising 389 on a 5-year fixed right now, maybe a month or two ago, but not now. So as a result of that, those are usually lenders you've never heard of with restrictions that you can't meet, that you don't qualify for, and then you're going to end up somewhere else.
Probably an insured product as well for the most part.
So then you have to also worry about, like I said, the penalties when you go into a big bank, right? So you've got all this discount stuff. You've got all these proper, what I consider to be a proper mortgage from a big bank, which is most people are doing. Brokers. Now, here's the craziest part. Independent mortgage brokers right now are not, in my experience, getting as good a deal on rates from big banks as they used to. They used to be.
This is a quiet conversation no one's talking about, and I've
no
heard
one is talking about.
And
that.
I've been at a table with big bank people and brought this up, and they kind of smirk at me. They're like, "We know.
Oh yeah, we're changed.
Keeping the business. We're not helping them. Like they know. They absolutely know what's going on."
Yeah. So if you go to for instance, I'll give you an example right now. If you go to an independent mortgage broker who is not a volume discount broker, but somebody who has what I call a regular business model at something like one of the big 5 banks right now, you're going to get offered probably on a 5-year fixed 4.59%. And that's the best they can do. It's terrible. But if you go directly to that bank through one of their mobile mortgage specialists, not a mortgage broker, but a bank employee, they're as low as 409, maybe a little bit higher than that. So you're seeing a 0.5 point spread.
I haven't heard the spread being that big, but
oh yeah, okay. I'm seeing it because I'm living it right now.
Right.
And then here's something. So you go to your broker, you find out what's competitive. Now the brokers can take you to other lenders, of which are 409 all day long as well. They just won't be a big 5 bank. They'll probably actually be a better option because the penalty will be lower, right? Because they don't have something called a posted rate, so the interest differential is a lot different.
My easiest mortgages ever were not with big 5 banks. Like my days of buying stuff, I never had a mortgage with a big 5 bank. Yeah. They're all monoline lenders.
Really? I've only had...
most of my early ones.
I've usually... Because
I just relied on the mortgage broker. I was like, get me the best option. So but I didn't
what's happening... So now let me share with you the difference in what I'm seeing with the renewals is the banks, the big 5. Apparently, National Bank is becoming the big 6, by the way. The big 5 at this point have realized that guess what? Our existing clients are our best clients. So now,
give them all iPads.
They were all doing the mobile phone or the cell phone business model before, right? Like switch to us and you'll get a better deal. And
when I took
I'm already a provider, or I'm already using, say, TELUS, and I'm like, can I get that same deal? And they're like, beat it.
When I switched to TD, they gave me $4,100 just to switch.
Yeah, totally.
Which I just immediately put to the principal of the mortgage. I'm like, boom.
They're starting at this point now to go, oh, maybe we should keep these mortgages on the books. Because before, people would switch a lot, because if you phoned a broker, let's say we're using these same numbers, the broker could get you 409. The bank was like, maybe 409, maybe 419, maybe 429, whatever it is, and you would switch. But right now, if you're going direct to the bank, they're like, yeah, okay, we'll do the 409. And then you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to switch to the broker. And they're like, okay, 399. Right? Like they're really bringing it down.
But you still got to play the game on them. You can't
have to play the game. You can't just be like, yeah, I'll take whatever you send me.
Right.
So you have to go get a rate from someone or somewhere else and say, okay, this is what I'm, looking at. And then they're willing to play ball. That's kind of always been the RBC model. Like RBC was like, go do the work and then we'll match the rate or beat it. But now all the other banks are starting to do that. So there's a good chance with this one, I'm going to be sticking with my current bank. And there's also a very good chance that Tom Storey because of the spread, and because I don't know if and when I'll be selling the property. I think I'm going to go variable.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the dark side, Steve.
But, okay, so here's the variable number now. So the 5-year fixed is 409 at best. Probably has gone up.
What discount are you getting on prime is the real question, because that's the only thing that matters for the variable.
The deal that I was offered last, which I didn't take because I was on vacation and I didn't get the email. Here's the tricky thing. At the branch right now, they're going, this offer is good for 24 hours.
I know. They did that to me on mine too, bastards.
And I'm like, you guys can go F yourselves. Yeah. I am at a basketball game.
Yeah.
So
I'm sitting courtside.
Yeah. Dude, I found out, I got the inside scoop on what you need to do to get courtside tickets at that thing. And it puts to shame any, like, you think Leafs tickets are expensive?
Oh, yeah?
This is a different thing. Anyway,
all right.
Where was I going with? Okay, so they gave me an offer, and it was like prime minus, not 1. It was prime minus like 8.8 or 0.85 or something. Like, it was really low. So you're talking an effective rate of probably 3.6.
Yeah, sounds about. That's what I've been hearing for variables.
Right? So 3.6, and it's like, okay, so now if I go variable, to get back to the 5-year fixed rate that they're going to offer me, I need rates to go up at least twice. What's my savings going to be versus this is where it comes in. What's my penalty going to be? Should I take the 409 for 5 years? Probably. But if I sell it in a year from now, do I want to pay $15,000 in whatever penalties I have? I don't want to pay that $15,000. No. So if I have to pay a little bit extra, $20 a month in a year and a half or 2 years from now, I'm going to do that in order to not.
I'm trying to understand why you would sell your investment property, though, because would it just be so that you can upsize, you take that money and upsize to just a bigger house without changing your mortgage too much?
Very good conversation the other day with somebody who has a lot higher net worth with me, and they were trying to convince me to sell it. And the reason they was they wanted me to upsize my principal residence for tax purposes, because that upsize would eventually be, if I own it for 10 or 15 or 20 years, tax-free. Mm-hmm. And also they said, before you do that though, any money that you pull out of that property after you pay your capital gain, you dump into all of your registered accounts. So you max out your RSPs after you max out your TFSA. So he's like, if you max out your TFSA, your wife maxes out their TFSA, and you upsize your principal residence with that money and then do your RSPs, all of this is not financial advice. Most of that money is either going to be tax deferred or tax free completely. And he's like, when you're 65, that's actually going to be the better move, because the problem he had with the idea of keeping this property is any gain is going to be taxed, but then also the income tax off of the rents in the future will also be too high. Yep. So he wanted me to switch it that way. So he goes, it's great that you've leveraged at a young point in your life, but as you get to the old age of Steve now, but you have to start, maybe not yet, but definitely within 10 years or at 10 years by 55, the deleveraging has to happen. And the tax-free growth now would be a substantial benefit. So
on the primary residence, yeah.
That's what's got me like, and on top of that, Tom Storey, we may save it to another show, but my tenant just served notice.
Steve went from having no vacancy to 100% vacancy.
100%
in his basement. You moved back out of your basement though, right? You're upstairs living again. Okay.
I put my back out. Now I've got to rent out the basement, and I don't have to rent out the basement, but I'm going to try.
You're not at that level of success.
I have rent stories that I should probably save until after everything's rented.
Save them. Let's go.
Yeah.
I actually have a very, very busy day today, so I got to boogie. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for listening. I think we're far enough now into 2026. I'm not gonna say
Happy New Year.
It's too late.
This is
like after January 5th.
Recording after the 1st. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Thanks for watching.
The 5th is January the 8th. We're recording this on January the 8th.
See you next week. Bye.
Love you.